Hello, and welcome to another Fantasy Premier League video. My name is Steve, and whoa, Watkins, what are you doing to me, mate? If you're new to this channel, I sold Watkins last week to bring Haaland into my squad, which was obviously probably one of the most painful decisions I've made all season. Was punished by a lot more variance than I had anticipated, as Villa scored 4 goals in their match against Sheffield United, and Watkins happened to be involved in every single one of them. I was hoping to get away with a Watkins blank or maybe even a solo return, as I was expecting Sheffield United to put up a low block if a Villa to struggle to break them down, but it was not at all to be. Not only that, I also have Madison in my team as a differential, who actually only managed a 5-pointer, which didn't really come close to matching Richarlison's 15 points. That's now 9 goals in 8 games for Richarlison, which is an incredible turn of form, considering Richarlison had only managed 2 goals in the previous 39 league matches prior to this run. That left all of my differential points sitting on De Bruyne, who unfortunately only managed a 5-pointer to try and combat Watkins's 18, and Foden, who thankfully managed a hat-trick and did pull back a whole bunch of the points, but it wasn't nearly enough for a green arrow. My defence got absolutely smoked, but there were actually only 2 clean sheets in game week 23, so unless you owned a Villa or a United defender, the points were basically non-existent throughout the entirety of the defences sitting out there, which actually seems to be a bit of a trend that continues, something that I identified a few weeks back, and is actually the main reason, or the main driving force behind why all my transfers are being focused solely in attack moving forward. But anyway, you're probably sitting there wondering why on earth I sold Watkins ahead of the Sheffield United game. And if you are new to this channel and haven't caught up on my previous videos, the reasons that I did sell Watkins was to have the funds for a massive midfield, which included Salah, KDB, and Son, all alongside Haaland. But with the latest updates coming out of the Liverpool camp as of today, it doesn't sound like Salah is going to be fit and ready until sometime at the end of February, meaning he'll likely miss the crucial double in game week 25, which I was hoping to buy him for. So as such, my plans now need to change, as I will not be incorporating Salah into my team for actually a fair few game weeks. I was going to bring him in, hopefully for this Burnley fixture this week, and then to have him for the double, as he would have been a massive differential for everyone compared to most teams out there, because most teams cannot afford both Haaland and Salah at the moment. But the injury does look like it will keep him out for a while. So I have 5 million sitting, or 5.3 million sitting in the bank, which was enough to go, well, basically any of my midfield apart from Palmer straight up to Salah. But I now need to look at investing that to set up for double game week 25 and the blank in game week 26. So hopefully this will be a much shorter video than normal. But before we get started, if you like the following content, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Right, so this is the team as it stands leading into game week 24 with only one free transfer in the bank. We'll be starting Dubravka in net away to Nottingham Forest. Backline of Gusto away to Crystal Palace. I did touch on the reasons behind why I benched Gusto last week, and that was because the prior game week Pochettino did bench Gusto in favour of playing, well, kind of Chilwell instead, but I did say I think Gusto will probably start and get the 90 minutes in that fixture, but that they would probably concede to Wolves, and that's why I was benching him. That did indeed transpire, and so I am not at all concerned about his minutes moving forward. It does look like Pochettino is trying to play both Gusto and Chilwell as basically traditional wing-backs. And so I'll be playing him for the attacking upside and hopefully a clean sheet away to Crystal Palace, although clean sheets are very few and far between at the moment. We'll be starting Pedro Porro at home to Brighton and Gabriel away to West Ham, benching both Dan Burn and Botman, who conceded 4 goals against Luton last week. Not at all the turnaround of for the Newcastle defence that I was hoping for when I brought my Newcastle players in on the late wildcard about 5 or 6 weeks ago now. Across the middle of the park, we've got Saka away to West Ham, Maddison at home to Brighton, but he is likely going to be the man leaving my squad this week. Foden at home to Everton, Palmer away to Crystal Palace with a vice-captaincy at the moment. De Bruyne at home to Everton, who I really need to pull in some massive points this week to hopefully combat last week's 18-pointer from Watkins. And up front, we've got Solanke away to Fulham and Haaland with captaincy at home to Everton, who I managed to snipe last week for 13.9 million. He is already up to 14.2 million. And that happened very, very quickly. If you have been following the channel for a little while, you will know that I was playing on a bit of value in selling the likes of Haaland and Salah and Son and the likes like that. All of my targets, or my buyback targets, have now been hit. Apart from Salah, he is just 0.1 million off a drop to my sale price, in which I would have made money on all of those transfers, which I will have into my squad for the rest of the season. But anyway, on to setting up for double game week 25. So just bring up the transfer planner on FPL.team here. Now obviously my priority has been to build for the double game week 25, that I was going to max out on Man City attack, and that I would delay bringing in a Liverpool player until as late as possible in order to hopefully jump on Salah, assuming that he was going to be back fit from injury. Now obviously Salah is out, and so I am looking at bringing in a Liverpool asset ahead of double game week 25, and they are playing Burnley at home this week, and so this looks like the best week to be bringing Liverpool in now that we are sure of what is going on with the Salah situation. Now, Liverpool do blank in game week 26, and I was planning to use my free hit chip in game week 26, as I was going to max out on this double, bringing in a lot of players that were going to blank in game week 26. And I was going to use that free hit chip as kind of a multi-game week strategy. But now that I know that Salah is not back, I am probably going to be holding on to Saka as a result. And Saka actually does play in game week 26, and it gives me the opportunity to potentially not use the free hit chip in game week 26, which I am still toying with. Obviously, as information changes out there, strategies do in fact change, and I will step through how this might look moving forward. But on to the Liverpool assets that I am looking at. So to keep it pretty simple, Diogo Jota is the man that will be coming in, as I think he carries the most goal threat in that Liverpool squad when Salah is not available. I did kind of flirt with the idea of maybe bringing in Diaz as a bit of a differential, but I just think that Jota has way more goal threat than Diaz, and so I am prioritizing Jota over the likes of someone like Luis Diaz. Now, who to sell in midfield has become a little bit of an issue. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be looking to sell any of my Man City assets, as they do double next week, and that is the reason why I prioritize bringing them in earlier. As I mentioned, I will probably be holding onto Saka now, as I was looking at using him as a make way for Salah, or maybe even as a make way for Son, and to be tying that in with the free hit chip in game week 26, as Spurs do blank in game week 26. But I will now be holding Saka through, as Salah is now no longer an option. So it's really only between Maddison and Cole Palmer. Now, I've actually built up quite a lot of value in Cole Palmer. And given the fact that he actually has more routes to points than someone like Maddison, as Palmer is on penalties, both players' minutes are pretty assured. But I think that Palmer is actually the best player at Chelsea, and seems to be becoming the talisman for the Chelsea team. And given his price point, I don't even know what he's actually currently at now. What's he at? 5.9 million. I think I picked him up for like 5 or 5.1, somewhere very, very low down there. And he just enables so many things in my squad that I have absolutely no plans to sell Palmer, and in fact I'll probably be holding him all season. So that actually only leaves Maddison as the only potential make way in midfield in order to bring in a Liverpool asset. Now this is a little bit annoying, because I will almost certainly be buying Maddison back after the game week 26 blank. And I have actually only just recently bought Maddison in as part of these plans to free hit in 26 and not worry about the fact that Spurs were blanking. I did pick up Maddison quite cheap. He has risen in value as well, and so I will be buying him back for a slightly more expensive price in a couple of game weeks should I end up selling Maddison. But I have built up so much value across the team that taking a little bit of a hit on value over these coming game weeks to get around the blanks and doubles doesn't seem like that bad of a spend of the funds. So the only other option compared to Jota is Darwin Núñez up front. Now, I don't actually like Núñez as an FPL option, because although he does get a lot of chances to shoot, he is a chaos maker in that Liverpool team. I see his finishing as extremely wasteful, and I hardly ever like buying players that are just not that clinical in front of goal for a few reasons. It can eventually get them benched, obviously, as the managers try to manage them through periods of being extremely wasteful. It also means that they do not do very well on the bonus point system, so their goals are literally only 4-point goals for strikers or 5-point goals for midfielders. They hardly ever get into the bonus when they are being that wasteful. But also on the Núñez front, I think he was benched recently, and so his minutes are still not entirely assured moving forward. So a wasteful player that could potentially be blanked over the Burnley or double over the next 3 fixtures that they have to play, or the 2 game weeks. I just do not fancy bringing him into my squad. It would also mean I would have to sell someone like Semenyo in order to bring in someone like a Nunez. And it would be buying an extra blanker for game week 26. Whereas if I go for Jota instead, Jota blanks in 26, but I'm selling Maddison, who blanks in 26, whereas Semenyo in my squad does actually have a game in game week 26. So here's hoping Darwin Nunez doesn't pull a Richarlison on me over the coming 2 game weeks, and somehow seems to go mad in the upcoming games. It feels like it could potentially happen. I know a lot of managers out there will be looking to bring Nunez into their squads this week, so I'm hoping that does not happen, but we will just be going with my gut instinct. So if I sell... No, he's under Diogo. If I sell Maddison and bring in Jota, it leaves me 5 million in the bank, which is neither here nor there right now, which would give me Burnley at home. So this would be the team that roughly rolls out for game week 24. In game week 25, I will have 1 free transfer with a team that will probably roll out something like this. I will have the option to maybe look at bringing in a defensive asset that does double. We will have to wait and see what happens there. I'm a little bit unsure exactly how heavy I want to go in double game week 25, but I have the main high upside players covered in my squad. So I've got Haaland, De Bruyne and Foden all for their double. I will be using the triple captainship, chucking it on Haaland in this game week, and I will have Diogo Jota for his double away. Saka away to Burnley. We will have to play Palmer away to Man City, but I'm not too fussed about that. Solanke up front away to Newcastle, and doesn't really matter what's going on in my defence at the moment because not many defenders are keeping clean sheets. But if we roll this forward to game week 26, assuming that I don't use any transfers in 25, which I'm still unsure as to what exactly I will be doing there, I can almost field a full 11. So I'll be holding on to Palmer. I have no plans of him going anywhere. I will probably end up holding on to Porro as they do play in game week 29. And I would be able to roll out a team of 10 men with 2 transfers in the bank. Whether I play Dubravka away to Arsenal or Turner away to Aston Villa, I mean, I suppose I go with Turner there. I think both concede. This team, it is a team of 10 players playing, but all of the players have very tricky fixtures apart from my Man City triple up, who are all away to Bournemouth. Solanke at home to Man City, Semenyo at home to Man City, Saka with a tricky game at home to Newcastle, Gabriel at home to Newcastle. I think Newcastle probably score on that match. My double up of Burn and Botman away to Newcastle, and whichever keeper I end up playing. This is why I did have the plans to free hit in this game week to bring in the likes of Watkins up front, Tony up front, who's got a good fixture this week. Completely change around my defense. I mean, I'm still a little bit up in the air as to exactly where I'll be going with that. I might just roll this team out. I will have to have a think about it over the coming game weeks, but you can see how this is actually quite a tricky set of fixtures for the lads that I do have in my squad. So yeah, I'm not going to go too much into it. I'd like to keep this video pretty short, but on the whole, I should have most of the key assets covered for double game week 25. I may invest a little bit more potentially into the defense if I see some sort of massive change in form from some of those key teams, and whether or not I think that transfer is worthwhile, or whether I just hold those two transfers to set up for double game week 28 and the big blank in game week 29. And alright, that wraps up this video. So remember to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And until next time, I'll catch you again shortly. Cheers.